has been very crucial in this whole project we've had together.
Yes. One thing that's very important in my work is to break things down into bits and bytes. So when we work, we locate the weak spots, then we isolate them, like one phrase in a song. Then we reduce it, break it down until the singer is capable of mastering. Then we put it together again and build up again. And to give you an example, if a singer sings a song like 400 times, for sure, they learn the lyrics, they learn the melody. But maybe there are things in the song that's not working well. And if they don't get any feedback or focus on these spots, they're actually training something wrong, putting wrong stuff into the muscular memory. Maybe this is also the stagnation that Eriksson talked about. So, and that's what I do. I find these spots together with the singer, and it could be like if I sing a phrase from Proud Mary, and I sing, left a good job in the city. Maybe you hear there is a little something in the end there. We call that unintentional vocal break. It could be intentional as well. So like, eh, then it's intentional. But left a good job in the city, not intentional, and it's shameful for a singer. Some of the guys even remember maybe in the puberty that suddenly the voice did something like that. And it can be in your system the rest of your life that when you do that little thing, and it's just technique, it's no big deal. But that little suddenly in a phrase makes you feel very ashamed. Okay, so I have to break it down. Left a good job in the city. City. What about one vowel? E. Still not working. Reduce, take it down in pitch. E. Oh, there's something. And then I build up with my technique. I'll spare you the details, but support and different things. E. City, 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 city. And then I put the phrase back together again. Left a good job in the city. And there it is. So the point is that we have to train more right than wrong. And to illustrate this, we have developed a method we call the matchbox method. Maybe some of you have heard about it before. One or two. The idea is that I have a matchbox like this. I empty the box. And then I do my phrase or whatever I'm working on. Left a good job in the city, and I put a match in the box. Left a good job in the city. 2 matches in the box. Do you get the picture? Left a good job in the city. Oh no. So when you do a mistake, you empty the box and you start all over again.
So, because we're at the ACE conference and all of us have to deliberately practice, we thought that we would bring some of you a little gift so you can deliberately practice, when you get home.
And there are different shapes of matchboxes. We could call this advanced training. And we would like to give this as a special gift to Mr.
Daryl Chow.
Daryl Chow. Maybe you can help us send it further off?
Up to Daryl.
Yes.
Thank you, and up to Daryl. So if we once again think about our work as therapists, then how could we break things down into smaller bits and bytes? Several of the presenters have already come up with very useful ideas about this. What we talked about was, as therapists, just like for singers, you can't really practice in the room with the client when you perform. You just have to pull through the performance. But what you could do, which I loved about Daryl's presentation, is you can set up a video camera and look at the session afterwards. This allows you to Pinpoint a small part of the conversation, just as in Proud Mary. Slow it down, analyze it into smaller bits and pieces, and then maybe role play it and build it up again to get more ideas for how am I going to deal with this situation the next time I encounter something difficult like this. And when you start thinking about it, there are so many things you could break down into smaller bits and pieces in our work. How do we listen and pick up what the clients are telling us? What cues are we picking up from them? And are there some cues that we're not picking up? Are we skipping over some cues? How are we using our body language? Are we mirroring the client? Are we leaning forward a lot, leaning back a lot? How do we seek eye contact with the person in front of us? How do we deal with the emotion in the room? What words, sentences are we using? And of course, one obvious place to focus would be on the therapeutic alliance, breaking down your performance into the elements of the therapeutic alliance. And this is part of what the taxonomy really will help you do.
So next on the model here would be, after the planning, would be the focused practice. And of course, that's a very important part. And we need to be aware of how we are practicing and what we are practicing. Are we outside our comfort zone, for example, like somebody talked about? I call it taking new land. And I also work with foundational work, so divided, like how many minutes do I take new land work and how many minutes do I do foundational work. And when I do take new land work, I need to be even more focused. Take my time and better work for shorter periods of time and thereby more focused. After practicing for a while, it's a crucial element to get some feedback, as we have in the low part here. And it's both on the outcome on our practice, but also on the way we are practicing.
One of the things I noticed when I first started working with Ulrik was the way he gives feedback. It was nothing like I had expected. It was so concrete and specific and matter of fact. I think I thought I came up to Ulrik's office to get sort of a judgment about how my voice sounded. But he never did that. He was descriptive. He said, you sing a lot of neutral. You don't make a lot of loud sounds with more power and volume. And Ulrik's approach to giving feedback, I think, for me, illustrates some aspects of what is necessary for feedback to be useful in your learning process. So the more concrete and specific the feedback is, the easier it is for me to go home and do something afterwards. Then I know exactly what I'm supposed to practice. The more it's focused on what I do, not who I am, again, the easier it is for me to listen to and take in. So instead of Ulrik saying, Susanne, you're a bad singer, he didn't say that. He would say maybe, you don't have a lot of twang on your voice. And the latter is much easier for me to listen to because it doesn't attack me. Again, the more the feedback is based on observations and descriptions of what happens in the room, the easier it is to take in, rather than if I feel judged or evaluated. And last but not least, for feedback to be useful, it has to be tied to something I want. And you may have tried this yourself. Somebody comes up and gives you feedback about something you never asked about. Most likely, you either just discard it as stupid, or you feel annoyed or hurt by it. So it needs to be tied to what I've said I want to learn. And many factors influence the process of giving and receiving feedback. Sorry, no, I did it again.
Yes. Yeah, the idea with this illustration is that we can't understand the person we are giving feedback or receiving feedback from 100%. That's how we feel, at least. It's not possible. Let's say you sit down for many hours and try to really understand the person in front of you. Still, we are built of so many billions of small things, from how we grew up and what our parents told us, and traumas, and where we work, and so many things. So it's impossible. Even people you think you know very well. I mean, for example, my wife, I remember saying something completely harmless in my world. Have you ever experienced that? You said something completely no big deal, and then, yeah, like maybe we could improve the cooking in our home a little bit.
Oh.
Took me half a year with sweet talks, and I didn't really mean anything about it. But then again, sometimes I can even be in doubt if I understand myself 100%. So when we receive the feedback, for example, the idea could be to try to catch it there in the air before it hits you, before it goes into your heart. Catch it, look at it, and see, is there anything here that might inspire me? Anything here that I feel like going home and train? And it's difficult to keep it outside the heart. If there is just a little spark of something, then it's a gift. If you don't see anything there, there's nothing in this feedback that I get inspired from, then maybe you should just let go. So. And there are many ways to get feedback indirectly as well. As a singer, you know, you have the audience in front of you, and if you dare to open your ears and eyes, there's a lot of feedback coming there. Even as a teacher or a keynote speaker, there is some feedback in the room.
And as therapists, we're in the same position as the singer. With us in the room, we have a really valuable source of feedback if we dare to listen and watch them. We can observe, we can learn from our clients in the room.
Yeah, again, this can be challenging because we never know why a person responds the way they do, why somebody suddenly walks out of my concert or falls asleep at the keynote.
Yeah, that's right.
Speech.
I'm sure many of you have experienced situations where you've been in a room with a client and you've said something and they've had a response. And you've looked at it and you thought, oh no, that's a bad thing. Until they came back next time and you had a chance to talk with them about how they looked. And they said, it's actually because I was so moved by what you said, or because I got so many new ideas. We have to be careful when we watch the social feedback, the feedback from people in the room with us. But we also have to be brave and dare to listen and watch it.
Yes, we have to listen, we have to be brave, and right now we need to dare to sing. Yes!
Yeah! Woohoo!
Some of you are thinking, this is great, we love it. And some of you feel like, oh no. And we locked the doors, so... Number one in the book of learning how to sing will be to open your mouth. You need to try it. And number two would be to dare to open your ears and listen. And maybe you listen and what you hear sounds pretty bad. And then the next time you do it, it sounds 0.00001% better. Quite often, closing your mouth is linked with some story. Maybe you remember, maybe not. But I have heard many stories like, for example, as a kid, you are in a choir, you're standing there, and then the guy next to you goes, and he says, it sounds awful when you sing. And you feel like, oh no, I guess that's feedback, but you never know where it comes from, right? It could be you're in love with the same girl or whatever. Or even worse, the choir leader goes, could you go in the back and sing? I heard that a couple of times. Or even worse, could you go in the back and just pretend that you are singing? From that day, You close your mouth. Yes. And others were encouraged to sing on. So they are now singing in the bath, in the car, around the Christmas tree, in the church, along with the radio maybe. And how many hours could we say average a week? 3 hours? 2? 1 hour. 1 hour where one is opening the mouth, another one is closing the mouth. Let's say 50 weeks a year, that's 50 hours. 30 years later, here I am. And some of you now in this room have like 1,500 hours of experience. Probably many of you, many more. But 1,500 as an average. And the rest is down to maybe 50 or 100. Yes. So of course, it will be different. And we would like to invite you all to dare to open your mouth now. And we have brought to you a little piece of a song. And we tried to make it simple. And we even brought the lyrics. So we can focus a little bit on the technique or building up some stuff. Does anybody remember this? Yeah, it's pretty easy. It's just something like... Should we try? Face each other a little bit. But still, so you're able to see me because I'm trying to direct a bit here. Okay, so you do, let the dogs out. And, can we just hear, a bit deeper. Good. 3, 4. Wow, fantastic. Thank you very much for being very brave and daring the feedback from your ears. Let's end where we started. Do you remember the little sound example from Susanne? Her bass line? Remember it? Can you hear it for your inner ear? Yes? Would you like to hear where Susanne is?
So I brought a small clip to just show you, a small clip from an upcoming album I'm working on. The song is called My Heart Won't Say Goodbye. I wish that I could find the strength to carry on, and that someone else would chase my pain away. When the sky turns blue.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Honestly speaking, it touches me every time I hear this, and I've been searching, why is it touching me? It's not talent, is it? No, it's a lot of hard work. And all that hard work, it touches me. I mean, it's difficult. So it was great being here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh.